Hello everyone, this is Salih and welcome. If you remember in the last video, we've done the deployment part of this our generator function, and in this video we will be starting creating this main applications Visual Studio project. So as I just mentioned earlier, that this project will be covering a sort of practices, and we will be using onion architecture on that. And I need to take things slowly. So on the first video, in this video, we are going to be creating Visual Studio project structure. And on the next video, we will be covering half of those services. And then on the third video, we will be completing it and deploying it and also testing it as well. So in this video, we will be covering all this solution and project structure. Let's get into it. So to be able to create the Visual Studio project, I'm just going to make sure that I create a blank solution. So I'm just going to search for blank solution here, and the name could be short link demo main. This is going to be the project solution name, not the project. I'm just going to create that. So the reason that I created the blank solution first and then the projects, and I'll just show you, it's because I'm going to use a different sort of, not different, but not the default comes with Visual Studio sort of directory. So I'm just going to create something called source, and you may as well create tests, but we are not going to be covering tests. So within that source folder, and if I go to folder that I have the solution first, as you see, we don't have this source and test folders. It's because on the solution level, folders are virtual folders, virtual directories. So those are not actual directories could be created. So now I'm just going to right click to that source and say, okay, I'm just going to need the ASP.NET Core Web API project. It's going to be the main API project here. But before that, I'm just going to create another folder. I'll say apps. And also I will have another source directory here. I'll just call it core. And also this is going to be onion architecture, infrastructure. So if you want to learn about onion architecture, if you already are aware of it, but if you want to more, please let me know in the comments so I can make good videos. I'm just going to make sure that you totally understand how onion architecture works and why we have those sort of layers in that. So in that app folders right now, I'm just going to create ASP.NET Core Web API project. And here as well, I'm just going to go back here and create source folder, and then gets into it apps, and another folder core, and gets into it infrastructure. And getting in the core, we will have application. Actually, we don't need that, but let me just say, okay, this is gonna be in apps. So the project name, short link demo main API. This is going to be the API project within this short link demo main solution. So next, and we will be using .NET 9, and we will be using OpenAPI supports. Yes, we need that. We don't want to use controllers, no container support, HTTP configurations. Yes, those can be same. So go and create. So now we have this main API. But it is not going to be the only project we are going to use. As now we are using onion architecture, I'm just going to need to create a domain as well as application folders. And within this domain, I need to create the domain model. So the rest will be class libraries, not the projects. So I'm just going to say, okay, again, the same pattern I'm just going to use over here, core, and come here, short link demo.domain, no, main.domain. So this is going to be our domain application. And as it is class library, we can keep it as standard, but for this project, it really doesn't matter. It's because I'm now going to use this class library within this project only, and it's going to be 9. So create. So I have that one. And I'm going to do the same for application class libraries. Get into it, core, and here, short link demo.main.application. And in infrastructure, we are going to have 3 different infrastructures over there. So I'm not just going to mention why we need that infrastructure layer, but you may think that if you are leaving your application and going some third-party integrations like databases, like another web services, like local file system or something, those projects need to go to under infrastructure. And so that's why I'm now going to create 3 different projects underneath. So the first one, again, infrastructure, the name will be, for the first one, let's say source short link demo main infra. So this is going to be main project's infrastructure code generator. So we will be, if you remember, this project will be responsible for generating the codes, right? It is not generating the whole link or something. So only responsible of that one is to generate the code. So once we use that project, whenever we need to go some another source like service, like any other Azure function like service bus, like Cosmos DB, whenever we need to leave our application and go somewhere else as a third party, when we can create infrastructure project, and that infrastructure project will only be using one of those. So now I'm going to create this one, but we will be using this one as well as using this one. So let's get into it and say code generator. So this project will be responsible to communicate what service it is. It really doesn't matter. The service that generates the code and just basically returns the same value, return the required value. So this is going to be code generator. So let me copy that first. And again, it can be 9. So another infrastructure project that we are going to have, not code generator, but event bus. So I'm just going to say event bus. I'm not saying service bus. If you remember, we had service bus here. It's because, let's say, in the feature, you just decided to work with RabbitMQ or Kafka rather than service bus, or maybe you have it somewhere else, not directly in service bus, but in a container, in a RabbitMQ in a container, or maybe this event bus will be somewhere else, not in Azure. So this project is going to be responsible for managing our events. So that's why its name is event bus. So I'm just going to create this one here. Again, it could be 9. And lastly, again, class library, and the name will now be links. So links, infrastructure links. So why it is links? Again, the same scenario actually. So now the link where I store this details basically now is Cosmos DB, right? So whenever this application needs to store the links, it needs to go that one. But we may change the Cosmos DB to SQL maybe. Maybe it is now going to be in a third party's web services. We are going to store it somewhere else. Maybe we are going to store it in our file system. Maybe we are going to change this one later. So I'm not just going to say, okay, this is the Cosmos. This is link services. So if I say Cosmos DB, and when I need to change this, I will have to change many things in my applications as well. But if I keep it links, this application will still be using the links, but the links behind it, so I'm creating an abstraction. This may be changed, so we are totally fine with that. So come again, infrastructure, select, and infrastructures links. So I'll just create that one. So now we have our domain, we have our application, we have our main API, and under infrastructure, we have 3 different projects, as you see. I'm just going to create a couple of things that we will use in future. For example, if this project is going to get bigger, then dependency injection might be a problem. So that's why in every project, I'm going to create a folder called extensions and create something dependency injection extensions underneath that. Dependency extensions, there may be more than one. So it's going to be public static. It's because wherever we have underneath, will be static function iService collection is going to have and return. So we need to install that Microsoft extension dependency injection abstraction, and we are totally fine with that. And for example, for that project, as it is infra links, I'm gonna call add infra link services. So this requires iService collection, and in case we are gonna need, which we will, iConfiguration. It's gonna need. So this one requires extension configuration abstraction. Again, we are totally fine with that configuration, and not link services yet, but we will create. So I'm just going to copy that the same thing in other projects as well. For example, for event bus, we are going to have the same thing, but namespace will be different. And let me basically copy these two lines from here to here, so they can be okay. And the name this time, not infra link service, but infra event bus services. If we have more than one services that we need to inject, we will be doing it here. And these services, this extension functions will be called by application. So whenever we run the application, we are going to make sure whatever we have is injected. So this project, this dependency injection extension, for example, is going to be responsible for injecting whatever needed for that event bus services. So let me do the same thing for code generator, for instance. Save and copy that one into this. Let me see. Yes, we've got that one, and change the name. Code generator, now infra code generator services. We may have more than one services within this, and I'm gonna get rid of these class ones. So now we have extension, and extension for that one. We are not gonna need the same thing for domain, but we will need something for application, and I'm gonna rename it as well. So let me copy that 2 lines to that one. Actually, not the only 2, but the whole item group. So now I can save it. So this time come here, change the namespace name, and that one, not infra this time, but it will be application services. Okay. I get rid of this class one as well, that one as well. So that main application is going to be on the higher level, so it can consume the levels, all the other levels underneath. So that's why I'm just gonna come here and add the project reference, and I will add these projects as a reference. So application, domain, infra, it's because we are gonna need to call that endpoints. So if you come over here in program CS, I'm just gonna get rid of this. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. Not you as well. Not you guys as well. So what I'm going to do is that, for example, for the application, let's copy that name. So this is going to be an extension function for iService collection. And come over here just before we build the applications, build their services, and paste this one. But this is not going to work. If you click .NET control dot, it is not going to be able to find. So you need to copy that namespace and paste it here as in the using block. So now it will be able to use it. And we need to also pass that configuration. So this is the first step, that now application, whatever injection we are going to use within that application services or application class library, will be called automatically. It's because we are going to add whatever we need into here. So I'm just going to do the same thing for example, that man. So I'm just adding this extension and copy that, paste that, and I'm just going to have something called infra code generator services, and copy, paste, and not infra code generator services only, but infra event bus, and also infra link services. and we can get rid of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have application and 3 other infrastructures project. As I just called those 4 lines, I basically added those 4 projects dependency injection into my system. So I'm just going to be able to use it wherever I like. This is basically the project structure that we are going to have: core, application, domain, and infrastructure layers, as well as the application layer. The only application we are going to have is main API. It can be okay, but if you decide to have a, I don't know, maybe mobile API or any desktop clients or any specific sort of client, it may be going here as well. And the rest will be the same. It's because this is the whole point of having onion architecture. As I just said, if you'd like to know more about this onion architecture, let me know in the comments below. And if you like this content, and make sure you're subscribing and hit the like button. And also, if you want to be notified for the next video, make sure that you hit the icon bell, notification bell as well. And this is all from this video. In the next video, I'll see you again.